begins to ripple through your life, the world around you does not necessarily applaud. Some people notice the shift in your presence. They feel drawn to you without fully knowing why. They sense the calm beneath your words, the quiet trust in your eyes, the way you move through challenges without the same frantic urgency. To them, you feel like a breath of fresh air. They may describe you as grounding, soothing, or even magnetic. And in truth, what they are sensing is not some special power, it is the absence of resistance. You are no longer fighting life, and that peace radiates outward. But others react differently. To those still caught in the storms of fear and grasping, your presence may feel unsettling. They may accuse you of being detached, indifferent, or naive. Your refusal to panic highlights their panic. Your calmness becomes a mirror they do not wish to look into. And sometimes, their discomfort transforms into criticism. You don't care enough, they might say. You're too passive. You've changed. What they cannot yet see is that your change is not withdrawal, it is engagement on a deeper level. You are not ignoring life. You are embracing it more fully than ever. This tension reveals something important. Awakening does not make you superior. It does not place you above others. If anything, it humbles you. You see clearly how often you yourself were trapped in the same fears, the same illusions, the same clinging. You cannot judge those who are still caught, because you remember how real that prison once felt. Compassion replaces condemnation. You no longer need to convince anyone. You simply live, and your authenticity speaks for itself. Yet resistance does not come only from others. Much of it arises within. The old mind does not dissolve easily. It fights for its survival. Awakening often feels like an internal tug of war, part of you expanding into freedom, part of you clutching desperately to the old shell. This struggle is natural. It is the friction of transformation. Just as a seed must crack before it can grow, the mind must crack before it can open. You may feel moments of fear. Fear that you are losing yourself, fear that you are drifting too far from what is familiar, fear that you will no longer belong. These fears are not signs of failure. They are signs that the old identity is dissolving. And though it feels like loss, what is really happening is birth. The self you thought you were separate, controlling, anxious, was never the whole of you. Awakening strips away the masks, revealing the deeper self that has always been present. In this process, paradoxes continue to arise. You may feel more alone than ever, and yet more connected than ever. You may feel small, fragile, vulnerable, and at the same time vast, strong, infinite. Both experiences are true because awakening does not eliminate opposites, it integrates them. It teaches you to live in the tension rather than escape it. This is why awakened people often seem at peace even in turmoil. They are not immune to life's storms, they have simply learned to sail within them. Relationships also shift. Some grow deeper, infused with authenticity and honesty. Others fall away, unable to withstand the changes in energy and perspective. This too is part of awakening. Not everyone is meant to walk with you through every stage of life. Some connections serve their purpose and dissolve. This is not failure, it is flow. Holding on too tightly only creates suffering. Allowing relationships to evolve or end creates space for new ones to emerge. As you live more authentically, you also stop performing. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth, to impress others, to conform to expectations. This can be disorienting at first. After all, so much of your old identity was built on performance, on being the right person for others. But awakening shows you that true beauty lies in honesty. To be yourself, without mask or pretense, is not arrogance, it is liberation. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to be what others want, you become more lovable, more magnetic because you radiate truth. This authenticity extends to the smallest actions. A conversation becomes more real. A smile carries more depth. Even silence holds weight. You begin to notice that life is not about grand gestures or dramatic achievements. It is about presence. Presence in the ordinary. presence in the mundane. Washing dishes, walking down the street, sitting with a friend. These become sacred acts when lived fully. Others may not understand. Some may resist. But awakening is not about convincing the world. It is about living in alignment with reality. And as you do, something remarkable happens. You find that the criticism no longer cuts as deeply. The praise no longer intoxicates as much. You are less swayed by external approval because your center has shifted inward. You belong, not because the world validates you, but because you see that you were never separate from it in the first place. This shift marks an important stage in awakening. The realization that resistance, whether internal or external, is part of the path. It is not an obstacle, but a teacher. Every doubt, every criticism, every fear becomes a doorway to deeper understanding. And through these doorways, you step further into freedom. Awakening is not a single event. It is not a mountaintop you reach and then remain forever enlightened. It is a living process, unfolding moment by moment. Some days, clarity shines like sunlight, illuminating everything with ease. Other days, the old habits resurface, the doubts return, and you feel as though you have lost your way. This fluctuation is natural. Growth is not a straight line, it is a spiral. You circle back, revisit the same challenges, but each time with a little more wisdom, a little more space. One of the most noticeable changes lies in your relationship with desire. Before, desire felt endless, like an unquenchable thirst. You were always reaching, always chasing new possessions, new recognition, new experiences. And yet, no matter how much you achieved, the hunger remained. Awakening softens this cycle. You still feel desire, but it no longer rules you. Instead of clinging, you participate lightly. You can enjoy beauty without owning it, love without controlling it, create without needing applause. Desire ceases to be a chain and becomes instead a dance. This shift does not mean you renounce life or withdraw into emptiness. On the contrary, you may find yourself engaging more deeply with the world. Food tastes richer, conversations feel more meaningful, creativity flows more freely. The difference is that you are no longer enslaved by outcomes. You do not need every effort to succeed, every plan to unfold, every person to validate you. You live for the experience itself, not the reward it promises. And in that freedom, you discover joy. Identity also transforms. You begin to see that the self you defended so fiercely was never fixed. It was a collection of roles, stories, and expectations stitched together over years. Awakening unravels those threads. At first, this unraveling can feel like loss. If you are not the titles you held, not the image you projected, then who are you? The answer is not something you can pin down. You are not a static identity. You are a living process, fluid, shifting, growing. The more you release the need to define yourself, the more you discover the vastness of what you truly are. This recognition brings both freedom and challenge. Freedom, because you no longer have to cling to an image, no longer need to defend a mask. Challenge, because the ground beneath you feels less solid. But in this uncertainty lies creativity. You become less concerned with who am I supposed to be, and more curious about what is emerging through me now. Life becomes less about performance and more about participation. Daily life itself takes on new texture. The ordinary no longer feels so ordinary. You notice details you once overlooked, the way sunlight filters through the window, the rhythm of footsteps on the pavement, the quiet intimacy of a shared glance. These small moments, once dismissed as insignificant, begin to shimmer with meaning. You realize that the sacred is not somewhere far away. It is right here, woven into the fabric of the everyday. This change also affects how you handle difficulty. Problems still arise, losses still happen, uncertainty still stirs anxiety. But instead of treating these as enemies, you begin to see them as teachers. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to notice where you are still clinging, still resisting. Each difficulty invites you deeper into presence. Awakening does not shield you from life's storms. It teaches you how to stand in the rain without drowning. Relationships continue to evolve as well. Some grow richer, nourished by honesty and authenticity. Others fade, unable to withstand the shift. You may grieve these changes, but you also sense their necessity. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some people walk with you for a season, others for a lifetime. Awakening teaches you to honor each encounter without clinging. You love fully, but you also allow life to move as it will. And in all of this, humor emerges. You begin to laugh at yourself, not with cruelty, but with tenderness. You see how seriously you once took every little detail, how heavily you carried your plans and worries. And now you laugh, because you recognize